It's me. It's Hoop. It's the Hatening again. We're back again. And today, I want to talk about selling drugs. And I don't know if this is a trigger warning episode thing. I don't know. If you don't want to hear about fucking crime, don't listen. I don't know. I'm not going to tattle on myself or tattle on anybody. I might tattle on myself a little bit. I don't know what the statute of limitations are for just being a dumb kid. But, you know, people sell fucking drugs, you know, and I will say up top that I don't think that any substance should be illegal. A lot of the drug laws put in place, not even in this country, but just like in the world, are fucking racist and they're classist and they're used to keep poor people down. And, you know, they're used to keep the prison like industrial complex a well-oiled machine, and they produce slave labor, and it's all fucked and unjust and inhumane. You know, just off the top, we can start there, you know, like fuck any and all like drug legislation. It's fucking stupid. That being said, you know, just so you know where I'm at, people sell drugs. I know it's shocking. People sell drugs. And it's not just like this caricature of like this thug and criminal, you know what I mean? That like you always get in the media. Like everybody kind of is capable of selling drugs. And even if like you wouldn't recognize them as like a drug dealer, like a lot of shit that people do all the time, like is technically drug dealing. And this is not going to be a thing where I'm like, technically tobacco is a drug. You know what I mean though? Like just because you're not like standing on a corner or sitting on a stoop selling 5 bags of heroin or crack cocaine doesn't mean that like you're not a drug dealer. If you're giving the homies fucking Adderall or Xanax, or you're a fucking pot dealer, you know what I mean? And like there's such like a weird like Schrodinger's cat with like drug dealers, where there's like the harmless ones and then the harmful ones, and there's like no in between, right? Like there's like the cute and innocent like dumb college kids who like sell fucking dime bags and then also like can sell mushrooms and acid and shit. But then like there's the people who like sell like the harmful drugs that aren't like funny and cute and like safe to do in your parents' basement. You know what I'm talking about? Like fucking people who sell like PCP and fucking meth. And then it's like they are like portrayed as like just like being people with, I don't know. I'm not going to get into like the various stereotypes of drug dealers, but you know exactly what the fuck I'm talking about. And it's fucking stupid. Like it really is stupid. We all know so many goddamn drug dealers on various fucking, you know, pegs of that fucking ladder. We know people who sell weed, who flip their fucking pill prescription. We know people who can get fucking psychedelics. We know people who can fucking, you know, we all know, okay, middlemen are middlemen drug dealers. They don't ever fucking sell you the drugs, but they know everyone who does, right? We all know that person where if you can't find fucking coke at a bar, you call your friend and they can always find some. You know what I'm saying? We all know that guy. And I'm, you know, obviously using guy as a non-gendered term, but it's like we all know that fucking person. You know, we all know like the person who just like sells real drugs, in air quotes, like the drugs that'll fucking kill you if you do too much of them or get a bad batch. But like we let it slide because that's just who they are. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know, like as someone who like regulars like bars and clubs and like, you know, before the pandemic, obviously, like they're just people who exist. They're your community members. Like, and I feel like that's something that I don't know, like if that's just like you have to move to the city to fucking understand. But it's like, I don't know, like I know so many people who are like, you know, like they're good people. Like they are good dudes. Like they have a life. Like they got families. They have their shit together. But they make their money by like selling coke. You know what I mean? Like they make their money by selling fucking pills. And it's just something that they fucking do. You know, they are normal people who just like don't make much more money than you do, but like they just make their money by selling a lot of weed. And it's fine. You know what I mean? It just always has like blown my mind, like the stigma that like drug dealers have, and just like how you can pick and choose like who's a cool one, who's a not cool one. You know what I'm saying? And like, I'm not trying to like minimize like the negative impact of like, you know, abusive like substances in a community. Obviously, like there are a lot of instances of drugs being introduced in places in order to destroy that place. You know what I mean? I'm not defending that, but also like addiction, which will be its own episode. I've been trying to figure out how to do tactfully because it hits close to home on many levels, you know? But like, if you're a fucking addict, or if you're just someone who likes to fucking party, like your drug dealer is part of your social circle. That's just like a guy you know. And you know what I mean? Like, and then we get into this whole thing of like, you know, like criminalizing addiction and like victim blaming if you are an addict and stuff. And like that gets dicey when you talk about like, you know, like heroin dealers and all that shit, and like meth dealers and like, you know, people who give people drugs in order to maintain, you know what I mean? Like, and there are like tons of predatory drug dealers. I'm not saying that everyone is like, you know, like a dude who you would like go to a fucking football game with and like tailgate with, you know what I mean? But it's like, I don't know. It just like, it blows my mind sometimes, like at how people think about drug dealers and how they just lump them all into like this one, like hyper violent, hyper like, you know, wannabe fucking Tony Montana, like mold, when that's not the case at all. And when you live in our economy, or the American economy since, you know, the fucking 50s or 60s or whatever, like people will sell drugs, you know? It has nothing to do with like a lifestyle that's like desirable, you know? Obviously like pop culture, like depending on what pop culture you know, digest, like there will be like favorable attention towards drug dealers. There will be like glamorizing that lifestyle. You know what I mean? It has more to do with like being rich than actually like selling crack. But like sometimes they get so intertwined, like you can't really tell the wheat from the chaff in that one. But like, is it wheat? Is it whey? And I forget. Like, you know what I'm talking about. Like, you can't really tell like the difference between what you're looking at. I might have fucked up that saying. Whoops. But like, you know what I mean? Like, it's, I don't know, dude. Like it just kind of like blows my mind that people don't realize that sometimes like you just have to sell drugs to fucking survive, and it's like a more dignified existence in some people's minds than working like a very, very shitty job, you know? And I'm not here to say if that's right or wrong, but I definitely get where you're coming from, and I don't fucking blame you. You know, if you can get, you know, tax-free income, fuck it. You know what I mean? Some people are really good at selling drugs. Some people are really bad at selling drugs. Like, we all know good drug dealers and bad drug dealers. You know what I mean? But also, like, we all know a lot of people who at one point have sold drugs or have pushed drugs or just, like, you know, do that shit. And it's neither here nor there. You know what I mean? Like, people do what they need to get by. And people do what they need to make some extra money. You know what I'm saying? Like, I have helped people get drugs many times in my life, and I have been financially compensated for that many times. I don't know if that's really telling on myself, but it's like, that's just how it is. Like, when you are involved in like the drug scene, whether it's fun drugs, hard drugs, or fucking weed, money exchanges hands. Sometimes you get a good deal and you want to capitalize on it. Sometimes like people want to kick you fucking cash for helping them get what, you know what I mean? Like, there's a million different ways for you to make money off of like drugs changing hands. Does that mean that like you deserve to go to fucking federal prison? No. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's so many different things that people can do when drugs change hands that will like qualify you as a drug dealer. And it's like so fucking stupid. And like, it's also really classist and fucked up to like demonize people who are doing what they can or what they know to survive or to make ends meet. You know what I mean? The idea that everyone who sells drugs wants to be like this like glamorous rich person is completely ignorant and fucking stupid. You know, most of the people I know who like sell drugs at like for a living are doing it because they have no other options, right? Like they either have like a criminal record or they don't have an education or whatever the fuck, and they have to sell drugs in order to make ends meet. And I don't fucking blame them. You know what I'm saying? And then there's also just like people who sell drugs to make extra income because they have a hookup or they have like a weird clientele, but you know, whatever the fuck. And I don't fucking blame them either. Like fucking get your money. Late stage capitalism is imploding. Like get some fucking cash, my dude. You know, like I fucking get it. You know what I mean? Like it is what it is. I don't know a single person who I would call a drug dealer who like thinks that they're gonna like buy a fucking Bentley off of their fucking weed selling money. And also, let's not forget, like a lot of fucking drugs come from quote legal sources in the beginning, and then they get sold illegally, especially now with like dispensaries and shit, and people just flipping their prescriptions. And I'll leave the episode on maybe a soapbox, but there is no fucking reason for any single person to be in jail for selling weed or having weed when there are dispensaries. It's fucking ridiculous. If you can go into something that looks like a goddamn Radio Shack and pick up some fucking weed, there's no fucking reason for someone to be in jail over that shit. Plain and simple. But that's the episode. Thank you for listening. If you like The Hatening, please like and subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts. We are everywhere. I wish we could say religion, but we're not. You can find The Hatening on all social media platforms. From there, you can find the individual profiles for myself and super producer Andrew. If you like the show, give us a good review. You know, hit us up, engage with us. That shit is pretty cool. Tell your friends that shit is cool too. But yeah, you know, don't forget to take care of yourself and the people around you, and don't forget to tell your friends you love them. Also, if you buy drugs, test them for fentanyl.